Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are, just know that I am saying hello. How are you guys doing today? I hope that you are doing well. So am I, and today I am coming back to my YouTube and giving you all a labor and delivery via C-section story time. It's time. First, let's get into a couple of things before I start talking, because I know if you have been following my journey, you're probably wondering, how's baby doing? What's she up to? Baby girl is doing fine. She is great. She is chunky. She is healthy. She is downstairs with her dad and my mom taking a little nap, and so I was trying to hurry up and get a video posted, even if I have to do it on my phone. So hopefully the footage is not shaky. I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things. So let's get into the story time. You guys know, well, if you do not know, at 37 weeks I had a scheduled C-section, my first baby. I had a baby girl. Her name is McKenna Grace, and she is just such a joy to this family. She has so much personality, and she's not even 2 months old yet, but you guys will see her soon. So we had a scheduled C-section for July the 26th. We had to be at the hospital at about 5 a.m. And at the time, my nerves wasn't too bad. I think that I was just ready for everything. And I noticed that when you are having a C-section, it's such a different kind of feeling to know that 1 hour, your baby is still in the womb, your baby's not here yet, and then the next, here you are, you have a baby, and it's just like, what the heck is going on? So I was doing pretty good with my nerves. I was just ready for her to come out. I was ready to see her. And I honestly thought that I was going to take everything like a champ. I thought the C-section was going to be a breeze. Postpartum was going to be a breeze. I thought me handling baby was going to be a breeze, but okay, we'll get into that. So we get to the hospital, to labor and delivery. You get all checked in, and they put you in this little room. They put you on the baby monitor and all of that good stuff. And they start, checking vitals and different things like that and getting you prepped for the C-section. But before you even get prepped, you're in like a little waiting room, recovery room type deal for, I want to say we were in there about an hour, maybe even longer than that, before they come in and start to kind of prep you on surgery. I was totally fine up until the point where nurses and the doctors that were going to be in there as you have the C-section, I was perfectly fine until they started to come in and introduce themselves and tell me who they are and stuff like that. And then the reality set in at the fact that, okay, I'm about to have a baby. The last doctor came in and she was asking me about if I was a nauseous person, and she was just basically explaining to me the risk and the things that can happen during a C-section. So she was telling me just different things about if this were to happen, how they would save my life and what they would have to do, and just different risks of having a C-section. And of course, being a doctor, they have to tell you these things, but it terrified me. And up until that point, I was totally fine, totally ready to see my baby. But when she came in and she told me all these different things, y'all, it scared me so bad. I got super, super nervous, and I started to feel nauseous. I started to feel like I was gonna faint. I started to cry. I really just lost it because I was scared, and the fact that I was bringing a child into this world via C-section was like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy. So it took me a long time to get myself together. Like, I asked the doctors to step out of the room. I really needed to just get myself together. And if it wasn't for my husband and my mom being in the room, I don't know what I would do. Of course, I would still have to go through with the C-section. There was no way of getting my baby out. I mean, I had to go through with the C-section, but I just got so nervous. Like, oh my goodness. But I pulled myself together. Took me a while, but I pulled myself together, walked on in the room, and when you get into the C-section room, it looks like an episode of Grey's Anatomy. It looks exactly how you would think it would look. It looks like a surgery room. Everything is really sterile and not necessarily cold, because everyone in there was really nice. They were really warm feeling. They were really helpful, and they didn't make you feel like this is the biggest surgery of your life. You know what I'm saying? They were just really cool. I think I remember music playing, maybe. They were just really nice, everyone in there. But of course, operation room is for surgeries, so it looked weird. But I got in there, and the first thing they did was had me get onto the table and crouch over so that they could do my spinal, which is something similar to a epidural, so that you will be numb from the waist down. So at the time of the spinal, that was very nerve-wracking as well, because they want you to crouch over and you cannot move. You know, they don't want you to move so that they don't hit a place that they're not supposed to. And that's just nerve-wracking, because you don't want them messing up. Child mess around and be paralyzed. That took about 10-15 minutes just for them to complete that. So I'm sitting with my back out, crouched over. I'm holding on to the nurse in front of me. They're telling me to breathe. And as she's doing the spinal, you can kind of feel like a big pinch. Very, very, very big pinch. It's not a painful thing, but it's something that's going to make you tense up. Like, ooh, what the heck? So that was kind of strange. But we got through that. And at the time of them doing that, my husband, nobody could be in the room. It was just me. So that was very nerve-wracking. But we got through it. I laid down. They are putting the drapes and things up, and starting me on some medication for nausea. I was on medication for nausea because when I had my myomectomy, after that, the medicine that they used made me very, very, very sick for like 3 days afterwards. Very sick. I was throwing up all the time, and they did not want that to happen again. So I was put on medication for nausea. Now, with that, the medication for the nausea made me so sleepy. So here I am, laying on the table, about to get my baby pulled out of me, and I am extremely tired. And the doctor let me know, like, look, it's gonna make you kind of drowsy, but you know you're gonna be fine. Just know that it's gonna make you drowsy. Okay. So I'm dealing with the drowsiness. I'm already nervous on top of that, and now they are about to put the catheter in for the surgery. They're poking my legs like, can you still feel? Can you still feel? Now, at the time, I could still feel, but they were telling me that they were going to enter the catheter, and it was just a lot. And I'm telling them, like, I can still feel. Please don't put the catheter in yet. I can feel. It was just craziness, okay? So, y'all, I'm freaking out. Like, oh my God, I can still feel, like, but as I'm saying that, the feeling that I had is like going away. When I tell you I could not feel anything, and I think that because I was already so nervous, everything that was going on in the room was just too much for me. So the fact that I couldn't feel, and they told me, okay, you're not going to be able to feel. A lot of people start to panic. Don't panic. Child, why did I still panic? In my head, I'm thinking, move your leg, move your leg, move your leg. And you can't. So now the fact that I can't move my leg when I'm not supposed to be able to is freaking me out. Girl. Mind you, during all of this, my husband is not in the room. It is just me. I don't know if it's different for different locations, but at the time of them prepping you for surgery, I don't think that anyone else can be in the room. As far as your spouse or your plus one that you have, they are not allowed in the room. So now that they got my medication going, I am all numb, the spinal is good, all of that, they are ready to start. They go to get my husband, and during this time, everything is going on, but y'all, I was so sleepy, I could barely hold my eyes open. I'm like, just laying there, like, do whatever you want to me. I was just so sleepy and freaked out because I was so sleepy. I wasn't expecting to be sleepy, especially when you're having a baby. I want to see my baby when she comes out. So my husband comes in, and I'm like, thank God, because I'm so scared. I'm so scared. He comes in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, babe, I'm so sleepy. And I think the fact that I was so sleepy, after a while, it kind of scared my husband too, because it was like, it was nothing that I could do. I was just like, I'm so sleepy. So he was trying to keep me awake. He talked to me the whole time. He was like rubbing my hands and my head and telling me how well I was doing, and how in a few minutes we were gonna meet our baby girl. From the time of them doing all of that and to the time of me meeting my daughter, it was probably only 20-30 minutes. A C-section goes super fast, very quick. They cut you open. Of course, they have the blue sheet. If you guys have seen TV shows that show a C-section, it's just like that. But what was funny was if my husband and I looked up at the light, we could see everything. My husband's real queasy, but for some reason, I'm cool with looking at stuff like that. So I would kind of glance up every now and again just to kind of see, like, how close are you guys getting? Like, are you like within minutes of pulling her out, or what's going on over there? As far as the feeling, you don't really feel, of course, but you can feel them when they get close to the baby. So I started feeling them pulling and tugging and just down there, just getting in there, which was crazy. And it kind of feels like getting a tooth pulled. We noticed that when they started getting close to my daughter, the whole atmosphere in the room kind of changed. It was like, okay, it's showtime now. Like, the baby's coming. And the little nurse that we had, she came around the drape and she said, well, you guys are going to have a baby in a few minutes. So that was cool. Atmosphere changed in the room, and all of a sudden, the pulling and the tugging stopped, and boom, there's my baby. out in the open. And as soon as McKenna Grace hit the air, she let out this loud scream, like, wah, wah, wah. And it scared me because I'm like, what the heck is going on with my child? So of course, Kenya was the first one to see her and hold her. As soon as she got out, the nurse pulled him to go around and just see. I was so in shock, I cried for like 5 seconds. I'm in shock for one, and for two, I was so sleepy, y'all. Oh my goodness. They pulled her out. Kenya went with her over to the warmer. Of course, they weighed her. And she was just, first off, she was so tiny. She was only 5 pounds, 12 ounces. And when they pulled her out, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so small. And she sounded like a bird or something. She was just so small, doing all that screaming. I was just in such shock. Like, wow, they just really pulled a baby out of me. And it was just a crazy, crazy time. Then they brought her over. To me, I could barely really hold her because they set her up so high on my chest. And I was sleepy. So I was just holding her and I was like, it's okay, baby, it's okay. But she was so small. It didn't take them long to sew me back up. Then we went off to the recovery room. Kenya took the baby off to the recovery room. My mom was already in there and boom. Now, from that point on, it was some craziness going on. But as far as the labor and delivery part, that's it. It was very nerve-wracking, but I do understand that a lot of women would prefer to have a scheduled C-section because childbirth is very traumatic. But I feel like even though it went smoothly for me, I do feel like it was a tad bit traumatic. Postpartum is a whole nother ball game as well that I can do a separate video on. I can give a snippet and say that I did develop preeclampsia, which was a big struggle and something that we were not expecting at all. And it was very scary. Very scary. I ended up coming home for maybe 4 days, I think. Then I had to go back to the hospital and I stayed in the hospital without my baby, without my husband, without my mom because of preeclampsia. And that was very traumatic. But that is a whole nother story. We were just talking about the labor and delivery today. I know the video is probably kind of really lax, but like Kiki Palmer says, I am a mother and I really want to get back at putting out content, but I don't want to be too hard on myself because my time is dedicated to my child and it is very hard for me to sit down and record. So the times that I do record will probably be videos like this where it's not too much thought. Hopefully that's okay. Hopefully it looks okay. I hope that you guys enjoyed and I love you guys. See you next time.